In order to please the person he liked, my childhood sweetheart stole my debate script and gave it to her. As a result, I was completely defeated in the debate competition and missed the opportunity to be an exchange student. Afterwards, he casually said to others, "I just wanted to teach Zelda a lesson and make her stop coveting things that don't belong to her." I stopped clinging to him and gradually faded out of his sight. The college application I submitted was completely different from the agreement we made when we were young. On the day I received the admission notice, he came to question me with red eyes. I sneered, "One lesson for lacking self-awareness is enough." I was supposed to be fully prepared for the debate competition, but I was completely overwhelmed by my opponents. It seemed that they had known all my strategies and tricks long ago. During the competition, their attacks on my entry points were right on the mark. Even worse, they even used my personal privacy as evidence to bombard me. We were completely unable to fight back and suffered a crushing defeat. My hope of getting the exchange and study opportunity through the debate competition was completely dashed. The sense of powerlessness from failure and the embarrassment of being pointed at by everyone hit me all at once. I suddenly felt suffocated. As usual, I hid in an unoccupied corner and sent a message to my childhood sweetheart Jasper to relieve my feelings. "Jasper, I lost the debate competition so miserably. I was completely beaten by the opponents. I'm so sad." The reply on the other end came almost instantly, "Honey, don't be discouraged. It's just a competition. When you come back, I'll treat you to a big meal." Patting your head. I quickly typed a message to him, "Then I want to eat the most expensive one." "No problem. Zelda, you can order whatever you want. A full Manchuhan banquet is at your disposal. I'll pay the bill." Smiling foolishly, the tenderness in his words of comfort dissipated half of the gloom in my heart. After saying goodbye to my team members, I couldn't wait to pack my backpack and leave. I was thinking about how to make Jasper treat me to a really nice meal in the evening. I didn't inform Jasper in advance, planning to surprise him. When I walked around the corner near his house, I saw him cuddling with an unexpected person. That person turned out to be my opponent in the debate competition, the school beauty Vivian. She had just transferred to our school this semester. She was also the one competing with me for the exchange student quota this time. A rare docile look appeared on Jasper's face. "Vivian, I did a lot of homework to help you win. I even stole Zelda's debate script for you and told you the secret that she's the illegitimate daughter of a nanny. Come on, tell me, how are you going to reward me this time?" Vivian rubbed his forehead and stood on tiptoe to give Jasper a light kiss. "Okay, I know you're the best. Thanks to your timely revelation, we won so easily. Do you think this is okay?" Jasper hugged Vivian tightly in his arms and said, "Of course not," before bending down. The two of them kissed passionately again and were reluctant to part. The scene in front of me and Jasper's words immediately made my blood boil. I had never thought that the most deadly weapon of the opponents in the debate competition was actually provided by Jasper. That day, Jasper suddenly said that he wanted to check my preparation for the debate competition. I thought he was concerned about me and was happy for a long time because of that. I even sent him the materials and asked him to help me check whether all the arguments were sufficient. But then he turned around and presented my script to Vivian. He also told Vivian the privacy that I had kept strictly confidential about being an illegitimate daughter. The pain of being confronted and criticized by others during the competition hit me again. My clenched fists dug my fingernails into my palms, making them hurt. I tried my best to restrain my impulse to go forward. I took out my mobile phone and sent a message to Jasper. "Jasper, where are you? I want to see you." The message notification sound rang, and the two of them separated. Vivian looked at the message pop up on the screen and smiled with an ambiguous meaning. "So Zelda came to you for comfort after losing. What are you going to do? Everyone in the school knows that she's your most loyal follower. Can't you tell that she likes you?" Jasper casually typed a few words on the screen and then raised his mobile phone towards Vivian in a show-off manner. "Vivian, is this okay? Can you be my girlfriend at ease now?" The screen of the mobile phone lit up, and Jasper's reply was simple and stinging. I'm with my girlfriend. Don't disturb. Vivian was coaxed into a big smile by him and joked, "Are you being a bit too cruel to Zelda? Aren't you afraid that she'll come to you for trouble after knowing the truth?" Jasper let out a snort. "Zelda is just the daughter of a nanny. Her mother still works as a servant in my family. The rumors about me and her in school, I was too lazy to clarify them before, but now I have to be loyal to you. This time, it's just to teach her a lesson so that she won't covet things that don't belong to her in the future." Vivian casually asked, "Then if I don't like her in the future, you won't take sides and help her, right?" Jasper curled his lips. "Of course." I couldn't describe what kind of mood I was in when I went home. As soon as I entered the door, my mother greeted me with concern. "Zelda, you're back? Why do you look so bad? Are you feeling unwell? Or are you hungry? Wait a minute. The food is still warm in the pot. I'll bring it out for you." Today, Jasper's mother gave me a roast chicken. She said it was made by a Michelin star chef. You should learn from it. Looking at my mother's busy figure and the white hair at her temples, I hesitated to speak. In order not to worry her, I finally didn't tell her what had happened today. Jasper was right about one thing. Our family did indeed rely on his family for a living. When my mother was pregnant with me, my biological father ran away with another woman. The doctor said that my mother had a special constitution and it would be very difficult for her to get pregnant again after having an abortion. Despite the opposition of my grandfather and uncle, my mother insisted on giving birth to me. From the time I was born until I could remember things, my ears were filled with labels like illegitimate daughter and bastard abandoned by my father. In order to keep me away from these rumors, my mother took me to live in the city. She didn't have a high education level. Through the introduction of kind-hearted people, she went to work as a nanny for Jasper's family. My mother was quick and diligent at work and was tight-lipped. Jasper's mother liked her very much, and she has been working as a nanny for 10 years. After learning about my mother's situation, the whole Jasper family took good care of me. I grew up with Jasper, and he treated me like an ordinary friend. When it was time to go to middle school, Jasper's mother arranged for me and him to study in the same school. One day, my mother went to the school to attend a parents' meeting. The classmates in the class knew that my mother was a nanny and taunted and bullied me one after another. One day after school, several boys lured me to the utility room. They pushed me in and locked the door. I was locked in a small dark room by my grandfather and uncle when I was a child, so I suffered from claustrophobia. I was locked in the utility room until midnight. I was cold, hungry, and weak all over. It was pitch black all around, and it was terrifyingly quiet. In despair, Jasper kicked the door open and came towards me against the light. That night, he took me out of the darkness and carried me home on his back. The next day, he announced in front of the whole class, "Zelda is my good friend. If you bully her, you're messing with me, Jasper." The Jasper family had a high reputation in the city. Many classmates' families in the class had business dealings with the Jasper family. They didn't dare to offend Jasper, and they never bullied me again. I still remember his words of comfort in a low voice that night. "Zelda, if someone bullies you in the future, tell me, and I'll beat them up for you. We'll go to the same university and always be together. As long as I'm here, no one will be able to bully you again." The words of the boy that seemed like salvation were like music from heaven. The girl's feelings grew wildly under the cover of the moonlight. Since then, in order to narrow the gap with Jasper, I tried my best to improve my grades and comprehensive abilities at school. Ironically, all my efforts were burned to ashes in front of Vivian. With her bright and youthful face, Vivian captured the hearts of many boys as soon as she appeared. Unexpectedly, even Jasper had feelings for her. In order to please Vivian, he actually used me as a sacrifice. The person who said he would always protect me back then has now become the one who bullies me the most. I stayed awake all night until dawn. The conversation between Jasper and Vivian kept lingering in my ears. The undisguised contempt and disgust in their words were like a sharp knife stabbing straight into my heart. The pain was so deep that I suddenly woke up. It seemed that it was time for me to withdraw from Jasper's circle. The next day when I went to school, I didn't wait for Jasper. I took the bus to school by myself. At the school gate, I met Jasper, who had just got off the bus. When he saw me, he quickly ran up to me and greeted me familiarly. "Zelda, why didn't you wait for me today? Why didn't you take the family car to school?" If I hadn't heard his conversation with Vivian with my own ears and received the text message on my mobile phone yesterday, his nonchalant appearance would have really made me feel guilty in the past. I smiled faintly. "Jasper, didn't you get a girlfriend? It's better for us to keep a certain distance. Otherwise, your girlfriend will be unhappy." Hearing me mention the word girlfriend, Jasper suddenly realized something. He enthusiastically patted my shoulder, shrugged his shoulders and smiled. "Ah, you mean Vivian. I'm indeed with her. But there's a reason for it. I'll tell you the details later. Anyway, don't worry. Even if I have a girlfriend, you're still my most important friend. Don't overthink it." I didn't pay any more attention to him and continued walking forward silently. But obviously Jasper wasn't used to my silence. He tilted his head in confusion, grabbed my arm and tentatively asked, "Zelda, are you angry because I didn't comfort you immediately after you lost the competition yesterday?" I frowned and was just about to break free from him when I was suddenly pushed away by a strong force. Vivian tightly hugged Jasper's arm and vigilantly declared her sovereignty towards me. "Zelda, Jasper is my boyfriend. What's the matter with you pulling and tugging with him at school?" I gave her a strange look and said speechlessly, "Vivian, I haven't heard that you're blind. Didn't you see that it was Jasper who was holding on to me just now? Please both of you stay away from me from now on. I don't have the time to watch your couples games." After saying that, I turned around and left. Jasper took 2 steps forward, thinking about what else to say to me, but was pulled back by Vivian. Losing the opportunity for the exchange student program meant one less bonus point for my college entrance examination. With my current grades, if I want to apply to my preferred universities, I need to improve my scores by at least 30 points to have a chance of reaching the admission line. Now all I can think about is where I can make up these 30 points. I really don't have the leisure time to deal with them. However, Vivian and Jasper didn't take my words to heart. In the past, Jasper and I were inseparable, and everyone just assumed that we would naturally get together in the end. Thanks to Vivian's elaborate arrangement, the news that Jasper and I had fallen out spread throughout the school. Many classmates mistakenly thought that I was resentful because my love was unrequited. Their looks towards me on weekdays were filled with more gossip and pointing fingers. Vivian already had quite a number of supporters because of her good looks. After learning that I might be dissatisfied with Vivian because of the Jasper incident, they took the lead in isolating me one after another. They looked for all kinds of opportunities to teach me a lesson and wanted to warn me in this way. There was glue on the stool, little bugs in the thermos cup, test papers scribbled with random marks like ghostly symbols. There were also unsightly notes on the back of my clothes and love letters written in my name to all the boys in the class. In just a few days, I became the despised outcast in the mouths of my classmates. Jasper saw all of this, but he just turned a blind eye. Later, I took the initiative to move to the corner of the classroom and stopped being Jasper's deskmate. These daily pranks gradually ceased. After becoming a loner, I had a fixed routine between 2 places every day and studied hard in private. Except for asking teachers questions, I basically didn't have much communication with others at school. The loneliness I endured was all reflected in the obvious ranking of grades. In the first monthly exam after entering Senior 3, I set a new personal record. I ranked 3rd in the class and 7th in the grade. Since then, I had once become the typical dark horse with the greatest progress in the eyes of the teachers. I originally thought that by shutting myself off from outside affairs, I could avoid trouble. But what happened later proved that I was really too naive. Saturday was Jasper's mother's birthday. Unlike the usual low-key style, the Jasper family held a grand birthday banquet for her. Many business partners and people with status and social positions were invited to attend. My mother and the others were too busy. So I also spared a day to help in the kitchen. Jasper brought Vivian along. and he introduced her ceremoniously to the friends of Jasper's father and mother. Jasper's mother thought highly of Vivian. She had been holding her hand affectionately and chatting with her. Even Jasper's father, who had always been serious, was also kind and pleasant to her. When Vivian saw me dressed as a servant and busy working, she pretended to be surprised and looked at Jasper's mother. Isn't this Zelda from our class? Why is she here too? No wonder our classmates used to say that Zelda and Jasper were childhood sweethearts and had an excellent relationship. I finally got to see it today. Vivian's words made Jasper's mother's expression freeze for a moment. She gave me an unhappy glance and explained with an awkward smile. Zelda, she's the daughter of our nanny. Our family is busy today, so she's here to help out. She and Jasper can't be considered childhood sweethearts. Vivian and Jasper look much more pleasing to the eye when they stand together. To avoid Vivian's misunderstanding, Jasper's mother said coldly to me, Zelda, just stay in the kitchen. Don't come to the front hall, lest you bump into the distinguished guests. Witnessing Jasper's mother, who used to be kind to me, suddenly change her attitude like this, I secretly mocked in my heart. Knowing what was good for me, I complied and quietly withdrew. Jasper beside me opened his mouth wanting to explain. But under the intimidating look of Jasper's mother, he didn't say much in the end. Jasper's mother's cold attitude indeed made Vivian's expression relax a lot. To bring the two closer together, Jasper's mother specifically told Jasper to take Vivian to play in the room. When I thought that everything would pass smoothly today, unexpectedly an accident happened at the scene. Jasper's mother asked someone to call me to the hall. When I saw the notebook in Vivian's hand, my heart skipped a beat. Vivian had red eyes and sobbed in public, Zelda, I didn't expect you to be so scheming. You clearly knew that Jasper had a girlfriend, yet you wrote such ambiguous love confession entries for him to read. How shameless. Her words were like a stone thrown into a lake, creating ripples one after another. Jasper's mother took the notebook, flipped through a few pages casually, and then threw it to Jasper's father. She was shaking with anger, covering her chest, and pointed at me with a trembling finger. Zelda, ask yourself, hasn't the Jasper family been kind enough to you and your mother? How could you have such despicable thoughts? I'm really so disappointed in you. After Jasper's father read it, he also had a disapproving look on his face. All the people present had status and a certain social position. The clear attitude of the Jasper family members nailed down the matter directly. It was I, the daughter of a servant, who was shameless and tried to flirt with the son of the master's family. Dressed as a servant, I stood helplessly in full view of everyone. I was being judged by the eyes from all directions without any escape. What was recorded in the notebook was my secret crush on Jasper. Once when I was writing in my diary, I was caught red-handed by Jasper on the spot. He snatched the notebook, read the contents inside, and then smiled smugly. However, he didn't return the notebook to me but left me with a sentence. Zelda, when we are admitted to the same university, we'll be together. I'll keep your feelings for now. Now this diary had been dug out by Vivian again. The feelings that I had once wanted to hide were exposed in public. The whispers of discussion around me came one after another. At this moment I felt as embarrassed as if I had been stripped naked and tortured in public. My mother rushed over after hearing the news and hugged me in her arms. She timidly kept bowing and apologizing to Jasper's father and mother. I'm sorry. Zelda is so naughty. It's all my fault as her mother for not teaching her well. If you have any problems, just come to me. Whether it's punishment or anything else, I'll accept it all. Looking at my mother's humble posture, I felt as if my heart was being bitten by countless ants. Holding back my tears, I lowered my head and apologized to the Jasper family along with my mother. Sir, madam, it's all my fault for being so naughty and causing you trouble. I'm sorry. Seeing our humble appearance, Vivian finally showed a smile on her face. Jasper's mother directly announced in front of everyone that they couldn't tolerate people with impure motives staying around Jasper. Jasper's future wife must be a young lady from a well-matched family like Vivian. Jasper, as one of the parties involved, remained silent throughout the whole process. My mother and I were driven out of the Jasper family on the spot. Back at the rented house, I looked at my mother with red eyes and admitted my mistake. Mom, it's all my fault. I got you fired. My mother didn't blame me. She sighed and hugged me in her arms. Silly child, how can it be your fault? If anyone's to blame, it's Mom for being incompetent and not being able to give you a good family background. Mom can see that you haven't been happy lately and that you don't mention Jasper as often as you used to. Our two families are not well matched. Given the attitude of the Jasper family, even if you got together with Jasper in the future, you would suffer. It's good that we left now. You don't have to force yourself to go to the Jasper family to accommodate me anymore. My mother's words were like a warm spring in winter, washing away all the guilt in my heart. After that I became more focused on my studies and my grades became more and more stable. Whenever I met Jasper and Vivian at school, I would take the initiative to avoid them. Several times when Jasper wanted to come up and greet me, I dodged him one by one. My mother also found a suitable way to make money, setting up a snack stand. She was good at cooking and could make many special snacks from our hometown. After getting the food business license and health certificate and so on, she set up a small cart and started selling at the night market. Snacks like authentic roasted sweet potato skins and spicy rabbit heads were rare in the city. Soon many customers were attracted to come and buy them. Quite a number of people became regular customers after eating them a few times and kept recommending relatives and friends to come and taste them. Grandpa Lin was one of them. I could always meet him 3 or 4 times a week. He said that he had been away from his hometown in Sichuan for too long. Now that he finally found an authentic taste of his hometown in Guangzhou, he didn't want to miss it. The business of the snack stand was getting hotter and hotter, and my mother was often too busy. Whenever I had time after class, I would come to help. One day after school, I was busy at the stall as usual. When I turned around, I saw Vivian holding Jasper's arm and coming to the night market. Behind them were Vivian's group of sisters and followers. When they walked to our stall, Vivian showed a strange smile. She pulled Jasper and a few sisters to sit down and then shouted at me loudly, "Hey, bring us 10 servings of your signature dishes here, and be quick. We're waiting." Regardless of the previous grudges with them when doing business, greeting customers with a smile is the top priority. I put on a smile and asked politely, "Excuse me, do any of you guests have any dietary taboos? Do you want coriander, scallions, or garlic? How spicy do you want it?" However, Vivian ignored my question and just waved her hand. "Just make it according to your signature taste. We're just here to check if the taste here is authentic or not." After the dishes were served, Vivian poked at them with chopsticks, took a bite of the roasted sweet potato skin and spat it on the ground. Vivian was clearly looking for trouble and complained loudly in dissatisfaction, "Boss, what on earth is this thing you made? It doesn't taste the same as what I ate in Chengdu at all." As soon as I tasted the ingredients, I could tell they weren't fresh. "Can you afford to take responsibility if we get sick from eating this?" Many of the customers at the stall today were new ones. After hearing Vivian's words, many people put down the dishes they were choosing. Quite a number of people stood by and watched. Food safety is an issue that everyone is extremely cautious about. If this matter isn't handled properly, it's very likely that word will spread quickly, and it's hard to say whether our stall can continue to operate or not. I knew that Vivian was trying to pick on us, so I looked at her calmly. "All our ingredients are purchased on the same day, and all the materials used are fresh. We don't reuse them overnight. If you think it's not fresh, please show the evidence that you got sick from eating our food and went to the hospital." Vivian seemed to have heard the funniest joke and laughed heartily while holding her belly. "Can't the fact that it tastes wrong in my mouth be evidence? Do I have to eat it all and then go to the hospital? Is this how you do business? Only when there's a problem with the customers is it considered a problem?" She was being so persistent that I clenched my fists and asked in a deep voice, "Then what exactly do you want me to do to prove that our food is okay?" Vivian blinked her eyes and pointed at the fried Chinese yam cake lying on the ground. "As long as you dare to pick it up and eat it, I'll believe that there's nothing fishy about the things in your stall." As soon as she said this, the surrounding discussions grew louder by several decibels. Many busybodies also raised their mobile phones to record and watch the drama. Asking someone to pick up something that has fallen on the ground and eat it, isn't it a bit too demanding? Could it be that she has some grudges and is here to cause trouble? The little girl and the stall owner look quite kind. Do you think the little girl will really pick it up and eat it? I'm afraid not. It's fallen on the ground. How disgusting. Exactly. Young people nowadays are so picky. There's no way they would do that. My mother didn't want to make the matter worse. She bowed to Jasper and Vivian and begged in a low voice, "Jasper, how about I give you all a free meal today? It'll be my treat, Auntie's treat. Is that okay? This thing has fallen on the floor. There are a lot of bacteria on the ground. Don't make Zelda pick it up and eat it." Jasper hesitated for a moment and then looked at Vivian. "Vivian, Zelda and her mother are having a hard time too. How about we just let this go?" Vivian crossed her arms and stiffened her neck unhappily. "Why should we let it go? I definitely won't." "Jasper, don't tell me you still have feelings for Zelda and are soft-hearted." Jasper shook his head repeatedly and coaxed gently, "How could that be? I just don't want other irrelevant people to spoil your good mood." Several of Vivian's friends took the opportunity to stir things up. "Hey! Do you dare to eat it or not? Could it be that there's really something wrong with the things in your stall and you're scared?" "Exactly. If you don't even dare to eat the things you made yourself, who would dare to come to your stall? Are you going to eat it or not? If you don't, then let's leave. We'll go online and help you publicize it properly later." Vivian looked at me provocatively while Jasper watched impassively. Anger welled up in my heart. Holding back my tears, I roared, "Stop arguing. I'll eat it. I'll eat it right now." After saying that, I picked up the fried Chinese yam cake on the ground, rinsed the dust on it with clean water, and was just about to put it in my mouth when suddenly a deep and stern rebuke came from behind. "Zelda, wait." Turning around, I saw that it was Grandpa Lin and several of his friends. Grandpa Lin knocked the fried Chinese yam cake out of my hand. He wiped the tears from the corners of my eyes affectionately. Grandpa Lin stamped his walking stick on the ground and looked sternly at Vivian, Jasper, and the others. "Little girl, you're not old, but how can you be so unforgiving when you think you're in the right? Several of us old men come to eat at Zelda's stall almost every day. There's nothing wrong with the things in her stall. We can testify to this. If you don't believe it, you can ask the stall owners around to see if what we said is true." Grandpa Lin was a regular customer at the night market. There wasn't a single stall owner from the beginning to the end of the street who didn't know him. Seeing this, the other stall owners also came forward one after another to speak up for us. Once the matter got out, there were more comments about Vivian around. She couldn't hold her face and said stubbornly, "Who knows if you're all in cahoots? Maybe you've all taken benefits from them." I looked at her coldly, without any warmth in my words. "Then why don't we call the police and check the surveillance here to see who's actually being unreasonable?" After saying that, I took out my mobile phone and was about to call the police, but she slapped it to the ground. Vivian's eyes flickered and she said, "Don't call the police." At this point, everyone basically had a judgment in their hearts about who was right and who was wrong. She grabbed Jasper and wanted to find a chance to leave, but was blocked by Grandpa Lin's walking stick. Grandpa Lin patiently advised, "Little girl, since you're unwilling to call the police, it means you're suspected of framing the stall owner. You can't just leave like this. You must apologize to Zelda and her mother and clear their names before you can leave." Vivian was already extremely guilty. Grandpa Lin's words completely enraged her. She waved her hand vigorously and spat out the words, "Old thing, get out of my way," and then ran away quickly. Grandpa Lin was pushed to the ground along with his walking stick. I quickly went forward to check Grandpa Lin's injuries and asked my mother to call 120. Without caring about the stall, my mother and I followed the ambulance to the hospital. Fortunately, Grandpa Lin only had a fracture in his lower leg and some superficial abrasions. Other vital parts were not affected. Both Grandpa Lin and his son said straight out that it wasn't my fault and that they didn't blame me. But whenever I thought of my mother's humble pleading appearance and that Grandpa Lin, who was old, was implicated because of this, I felt so aggrieved in my heart. After coming back from the hospital to the food street, it was already midnight when we closed the stall and went home. When we got back downstairs in the community, there was an unexpected visitor waiting at the entrance. When Jasper saw me, he shook his legs. It looked like he had been waiting here for the whole night. Jasper rushed forward and blocked my way, speaking in an urgent tone. Zelda, you must listen carefully to what I'm going to say. Today you've offended Vivian and she's holding a grudge against you now. When you get to school tomorrow, apologize to her as soon as possible. No matter what she says, don't refute her. Otherwise, even I won't be able to protect you. This is very important. Do you remember? I looked at him angrily. Jasper, I thought you were just under Vivian's thumb. I didn't expect that you've now become her lapdog. In broad daylight, even if Vivian has a powerful background, she can't be above the law. Besides, since Vivian showed up, when have you ever protected me? I had already been tormented enough by those people today. Now I didn't want to waste any more energy dealing with him at all. I walked around him quickly and walked forward. From behind came Jasper's anxious shouts. Vivian has said that she'll make you pay when you get to school tomorrow. Her family has a very powerful background, Zelda. Don't go against her and don't try to fight a losing battle. The old community was very quiet at night and Jasper's voice was very harsh. Given Vivian's temperament, of course I knew that she wouldn't let it go easily. Could someone with a powerful family background bully others as they liked? Previously she used underhanded means to snatch my exchange student quota and also made a mess of our snack stall. Did she now want to force me to drop out of school? What gave her the right? Thinking of the conversation I accidentally overheard between Grandpa Lin and his son outside the ward, an idea suddenly came to my mind. As soon as I entered the school gate the next day, I heard the news from my classmates on the road. The incident that Vivian led people to make trouble at the night market and pushed down the old man had been reported to the school. Many passers-by that night also called the school's teaching affairs office to report it. The school leaders couldn't withstand the pressure of public opinion and issued a public warning and punishment to Vivian and the others overnight. The punishment notice had been distributed on the school's bulletin board and the campus network forum. However, this punishment was just like scratching an itch for Vivian. Sure enough, as I expected, as soon as I sat down in the classroom, Vivian walked up to me arrogantly with her followers and threatened. Zelda, I didn't expect that you really had some tricks up your sleeve. You could actually make the school warn me. Since you're so ungrateful, don't blame me for being merciless. Don't run away after school at noon. I'll settle accounts with you properly. Jasper behind her kept winking at me, signaling me to apologize to Vivian. But I remained unmoved and smiled back at her without changing my expression. Okay, whoever runs away is a coward. After class at noon, I sat still in my seat. After all the other classmates left, Vivian stormed in with Jasper and a group of people. At her signal, two of them pulled out the power cord of the classroom camera. Without the surveillance, Vivian became completely unscrupulous. She had people hold me down and slapped me herself, constantly asking, Zelda, are you convinced? Do you dare to mess with me again? After more than a dozen slaps, my cheeks were swollen and out of shape. The smell of blood filled my throat. But I still gritted my teeth and persisted, shouting loudly, I'm not convinced. Vivian, why do you keep picking on me? Vivian jabbed my forehead hard with her index finger and sneered contemptuously, what? Do I need to choose a special day to beat you just because I don't like the look of you? But since you've asked, I might as well make you understand the pain clearly. What Vivian said next surprised me greatly. I never expected that she didn't like me just because of a trifle. During the school beauty selection at the beginning of the year, someone said on the forum that I was more beautiful than Vivian. This comment was also liked by alumni and became a hot comment. Vivian felt uncomfortable after seeing it. Besides, I was quite close to Jasper at that time. Jasper's appearance was among the best in the school. Vivian showed great interest in Jasper as soon as she came to the school. But at first Jasper wasn't too interested in her advances. However, things soon took a new turn. For some reason, Jasper seemed to have changed into a different person and began to be obedient to Vivian. Vivian had always been a person who could get whatever she wanted. Even though she was with Jasper, she still blamed all the unpleasantness when she first transferred to the school on me. She also hated me bitterly. It seemed that only by making me suffer could she vent her anger. I really couldn't understand her abnormal and perverted thoughts. At this moment my face was as swollen as a pig's head. I wondered if I was seeing things, but there seemed to be a flash of reluctance in Jasper's eyes. He half embraced Vivian, gently stroked her hair and casually lifted his eyes. Vivian, look at Zelda's ugly appearance now. It's really disgusting. How about just teaching her a lesson? I'm afraid I won't have any appetite for lunch later. Vivian wiped her hands and casually threw the wet wipe on my face. She said magnanimously, okay, then that's it for now. I'm hungry too. Everyone, clean up. I'll treat you to lunch at noon. As for Zelda, just throw her into the storage room. Didn't you say that she has claustrophobia? I've never seen what it's like when someone with this condition has an attack. I can just take a look today. Jasper's face froze for a moment with a bit of hesitation. Vivian, isn't this a bit inappropriate? What if something really happens? I'm afraid. Before he could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Vivian. She looked unhappy and said disapprovingly, Jasper, what are you afraid of? What could happen? Don't tell me you're soft-hearted again? Don't forget that it was you who came back to beg me to be with you a while ago. Jasper immediately shook his head. He looked as shocked as if he had heard something incredible. How could I be soft-hearted? Vivian, don't misunderstand. I'm just worried that if something happens, it'll have a bad impact on you. Seeing that the two of them stopped talking, several of their followers quickly pushed me into the storage room at the stairway. After some commotion, the door was locked from the outside. Until class in the afternoon, no one came to open the door for me. The storage room was surrounded by walls on all sides and had no windows. The only light bulb was also broken and hadn't been repaired. Once the door was closed, it became an airtight dark room. After nearly 2 hours of suffering in the confined space. By now I was sweating profusely, my face was pale and I was so weak that I collapsed on the ground. I took a look at my mobile phone screen. It was timed out. I mustered the last bit of my strength and dialed a number. Hello, I'm in the storage room of the teaching building. Come and save me. Before I could finish speaking, I passed out. When I opened my eyes, I was lying in a hospital ward. My mother wiped her tears excitedly. Zelda, you're finally awake. You really scared Mom. Are you feeling uncomfortable anywhere in your body? I forced a weak smile and asked in confusion, Mom, do you know who sent me to the hospital? My mother kept rubbing the hem of her clothes, holding back tears in her eyes. It was Grandpa Lin's son who sent you here for emergency treatment. He called me and then I knew that something had happened to you at school. You child, why didn't you tell Mom when you suffered such a great grievance at school? It's all my fault. It's because Mom is so useless that you were bullied like this. As my mother spoke, her tears couldn't stop flowing down. With great effort, I raised my hand to wipe her tears and comforted her softly. Mom, don't worry. I promise that after what happened today, no one will dare to bully me anymore. At this time, the door of the ward opened. Uncle Lin walked into the ward surrounded by the principal and several other school leaders. He looked at me with concern. Zelda, do you still remember who beat you and locked you in the utility room? Don't be afraid. Tell Uncle Lin everything you know and Uncle Lin will stand up for you. I silently took out my mobile phone from my pocket and played the recording of the incident in front of them. After listening to the recording, Uncle Lin frowned tightly and looked very serious. I pinched my thigh hard where others couldn't see, and then looked at him timidly with teary eyes. Uncle Lin, I've been bullied by them more than once. Can you help me? Everyone says that Vivian's family has powerful connections and that I can't compete with her. But I'm so afraid that I'll be beaten again in the future. He turned his head and looked at the principal and the others standing behind him. Is this the promote civility and foster new trends that you reported? There are such audacious students in the school. It's simply unbelievable. Failing to discover and correct the problem students in time is a serious dereliction of duty on your part as managers. This matter must be immediately investigated with the cooperation of relevant departments. We can't let evil forces stain the purity of the campus. The principal and the several leaders wiped the sweat from their foreheads nervously and said in unison, Yes, we'll handle it immediately and start a special investigation right away. Seeing this situation, I knew that I had won the bet. Yes, I deliberately provoked Vivian to make her use violence against me. That day outside Grandpa Lin's ward, I accidentally overheard that Uncle Lin was the newly appointed top leader of the education system in our city. The first key point of his work after taking office was to build a harmonious campus and was committed to reducing the occurrence of campus bullying incidents. After learning that Grandpa Lin's injury was caused by students from our school, Uncle Lin specially changed the campus inspection site for the next afternoon to our school temporarily. I knew in my heart that casual reports would never be taken seriously. Only by involving myself could I achieve my goal. So I calculated the time when he would come to the school for inspection. I deliberately chose to have a direct confrontation with Vivian and the others at noon. Then I timed it to call Uncle Lin for help just when he arrived at the school. When I, covered with bruises, directly caught his eye. Even if the school leaders following behind wanted to cover it up, they couldn't. As a student who was powerless, this was the most direct way I could think of to get rid of Vivian and the others. Facts proved that I succeeded. I didn't return to school until a week after staying in the hospital. Under Uncle Lin's vigorous intervention, the situation in the school had already changed completely. After investigation and evidence collection, Vivian, as the main instigator of bullying, was expelled from the school. Since she was already over 16 years old and the fact of the crime of intentional injury was established, Vivian was sent to a juvenile detention center for re-education and rehabilitation. Her family spent money everywhere to try to get her out, but they failed. The special investigation team traced the evidence that her family was involved in underworld-related money laundering through layer-by-layer investigation. Vivian's powerful father and several of her uncles were all arrested by the police. Within a few days, Vivian's family was completely uprooted in this city. Jasper and several others were forced to become accomplices under Vivian's coercion and instigation. They were given a serious demerit by the school. If they made the same mistake again, they would be expelled from school. As soon as the announcement was made, the campus was in an uproar. The classmates who had been bullied by Vivian and her gang before all applauded. As soon as I returned to the classroom, Jasper came to find me. I hadn't seen him for a few days and he looked much more dispirited. His dark circles and eye bags were very obvious and his state was completely different from his previous high spirits. "Zelda, you're back. Is it convenient to have a chat?" Jasper spent a long time explaining his previous behaviors to me. Once at the dinner table, he told his father and mother that he liked me. He also informed them of his plan to be with me after going to college. But both his father and mother were against this idea. No matter how much Jasper begged them, they didn't agree. The reason was that the Jasper family's business was currently facing an unprecedented crisis. They had to find a way to get through this difficult time. Otherwise, the Jasper family might never recover from it. The Vivian family was an evergreen tree in the city with extensive connections and strong strength. It was also the best life-saving straw that Jasper's father could find at present. After investigation, it was learned that Vivian, the daughter of the Vivian family, had just transferred to our school. Then Jasper's father had the idea of letting Jasper try to date Vivian. He wanted to use the emotional connection between the younger generation to get in touch with the person in charge of the Vivian family. Jasper's father made a promise to Jasper as long as he could help the family get through this difficult time by chasing Vivian. The two elders would no longer oppose Jasper being with me in the future. At first, Jasper didn't accept his father's plan and strongly opposed it. He even thought it was absurd in his heart. However, seeing his parents running around for the family business day after day. Several times when Jasper's father came home, he fell asleep as soon as he sat on the sofa, too tired to even have dinner. Jasper's mother, who had always been delicate and loved dressing up, even grew white hair and wrinkles. Jasper was deeply touched inside. In order to make things easier for his father and mother, he began to show his affection to Vivian. Vivian had already had feelings for Jasper in her heart. The two soon started dating. Vivian wasn't that complicated-minded and couldn't think of things at a deeper level. After Jasper coaxed her to be happy and whispered in her ear a few times, Vivian immediately introduced Uncle Lin to Jasper's father. After several rounds of dinner parties and socializing, the two families established a profit-related connection in the name of the younger generation's happiness. With the help of the Vivian family, the Jasper family's business gradually improved. However, Vivian had been spoiled by her family since childhood and had a pampered personality. After Jasper tried to break up with her indirectly, he was directly rejected by Vivian. After learning that Jasper probably wanted to break up with her because of me, Vivian began to plan to take revenge on me. The debate competition was the first thing she started with. Vivian threatened the Jasper family's business. She asked Jasper to prove his loyalty to her in the debate competition. Having no other choice, Jasper had to find an excuse to get my debate script and give it to Vivian, and also told her the secret that I was an illegitimate child. The victory in the debate competition made Vivian trust Jasper more. From then on, she became even more attached to Jasper. Once she sensed that Jasper had a wandering heart, she would try to teach me a lesson to force Jasper to settle down. Several times, when Jasper lost his temper and quarreled with Vivian, he said that her temper was not as good as mine. This made Vivian think again of how I had overshadowed her when she first came here, and her dissatisfaction reached its peak. Without saying a word, Vivian took her followers and forced Jasper to watch how they taught me a lesson. In order to prevent Vivian from attacking me again, Jasper had to pretend to please her. He stopped mentioning my name and said all kinds of insincere words. He also turned a blind eye to the pranks that Vivian's followers played on me. He made a full show of cutting ties with me in front of Vivian. However, at Jasper's mother's birthday party, Vivian unexpectedly found my diary in which I secretly liked someone. Vivian made a big scene at the birthday party, but he didn't dare to stop her. Because he knew that the more he showed his concern, the more fierce Vivian's revenge on me would be. He had to force himself to stay away from me to avoid me being affected by Vivian's crazy anger again. The incident of destroying the food stalls at the night market was actually an accident. Jasper wanted to persuade me to humble myself in front of Vivian. As long as I could make Vivian happy, I wouldn't be retaliated against by her. He didn't expect that Grandpa Lin was related to the newly appointed head of the education system. Uncle Lin called the school leaders that night to put pressure on them and asked them to deal with the troublemaking students. Vivian, as the daughter of the powerful Vivian family who could call the shots. This was the first time she had lost such a big face at school. Her revenge was as fierce and violent as her personality. Jasper knew that he was powerless to stop Vivian from using violence. He planned to quietly go to the utility room to open the door and rescue me when Vivian and the others weren't paying attention. But Uncle Lin was one step ahead of him. After listening to Jasper's story, I had mixed feelings in my heart. He looked at me eagerly. As long as I could coax Vivian into being happy, I wouldn't suffer her revenge. He didn't expect that Grandpa Lin was related to the person in charge of the new education system. Uncle Lin called the school leaders that very night to put pressure on them and demanded that the troublemaking students be dealt with. Vivian, as the pampered daughter of the influential Vivian family. This was the first time that she had lost so much face at school. Her revenge was as willful as her personality, fierce and brutal. Jasper knew that he was powerless to stop Vivian from acting violently. He planned to quietly go to the storeroom to open the door and rescue me when Vivian and the others weren't paying attention. But Uncle Lin got there one step earlier than him. After listening to Jasper's account, I had mixed feelings in my heart. He looked at me eagerly. Zelda, now that the Vivian family has fallen and Vivian has been imprisoned, no one will hurt you anymore. Now my parents don't object to our relationship either. Let's make up, okay? The college entrance examination is coming soon. As long as we are admitted to the same university, no one can stop us from being together. Looking at the person in front of me, in a trance, I remembered the boy who had saved me from the darkness back then. But some things, once changed, can never go back. I didn't give him a definite answer and just left him with a sentence, "Let's talk about it after you get admitted." These words seemed to give him some inexplicable hope. Jasper also focused his attention on his studies. In the last 2 mock exams in Senior 3, his grades were on a par with mine. After the college entrance examination, I got the first place in the school and the third place in the city. I filled in my first choice as a university in Beijing. On the day when I received the admission notice, Jasper excitedly ran downstairs to my house. He excitedly waved the admission notice in his hand at me. Zelda, I got admitted. Have you received your notice too? I'm so happy. Now we can finally go to university together. I looked at him calmly and didn't say a word. Jasper was completely confused. He quickly glanced at the notice in my hand and immediately his eyes turned red. Zelda, didn't we promise since we were young that we would never be separated? Why did you go to Beijing behind my back and leave me alone to go to Shanghai? Obviously, last time you told me to study hard and said that you would give me a chance if I got admitted. How could you break your promise? I snatched my notice back from his hand and stared at him without a trace of warmth in my eyes, speaking in a cold tone. Jasper, don't flatter yourself. I just said that to make you focus on preparing for the exam. I don't want to be morally kidnapped by you one day, saying that you failed the college entrance examination because of me. From the moment you used me as a stepping stone in the debate competition to curry favor with Vivian, there was no possibility for us. Don't say that everything you did was for my good. At best, these were just the means you used to stabilize the Jasper family. If you really cared about me, you wouldn't have allowed Vivian to hurt me many times, nor would you have told her about my most embarrassing family background. Even without Vivian, whenever the Jasper family encounters a crisis in the future, you would still sacrifice me. Having learned the lesson of not knowing my place once is enough. Don't bother me anymore. Jasper was left speechless by my words and stood there in a daze. I chose to study law in Beijing because I wanted to explore the path of fairness and justice in depth. I wanted to have smarter weapons and more effective ways to solve problems that I hoped that there would be fewer reckless people like I used to be in society in the future. Before the start of the semester, Grandpa Lin and Uncle Lin came to see me off. Uncle Lin patted me on the shoulder earnestly and said, Zelda, the road ahead is long and full of obstacles, but as long as you keep going, you will reach your destination. I have great expectations for you. Come on. For years later, I returned after finishing my studies and became a member of the city's procuratorial system as I wished. Every day, I walked under the light of sunshine and justice. I heard about Jasper again at a high school reunion. Not long after graduating from the college entrance examination, the Jasper family's business collapsed. It turned out that the so-called assistance projects of the Vivian family before were just traps. They seemed to be effective in the early stage, but the more time passed, the more they were found to be bottomless pits. To fill the financial loopholes, Jasper's father resorted to the old trick again. He asked Jasper to court and date another rich girl in the city. Jasper used the same tactics he had used to pursue Vivian before. He soon got together with the rich girl. To show his loyalty to the rich girl, Jasper signed a series of prenuptial agreements. The agreements clearly stated that if Jasper was unfaithful unilaterally or proposed divorce, the rich girl would inherit all of his assets. Looking at the dowry list of the rich girl, Jasper really thought that he had found a treasure. However, less than half a month after getting married, the promised investment from his father-in-law's family hadn't arrived in the account. His wife's dowry hadn't been transferred to the Jasper family's name as agreed in the prenuptial agreement either. Only then did the Jasper family realize that they had been tricked by an expert. The other party had deliberately made such a big show of marrying Jasper just to swallow up the Jasper family. Jasper's father and mother were so angry that they both had strokes and were hospitalized. As for Jasper, he was in a dilemma. If he divorced, he would lose both his wife and his wealth. If he didn't divorce, he would just wait and watch the Jasper family being emptied. Having no way out, Jasper began to drink heavily and slack off. He would only go home when he was drunk every day. The rich girl had also done her homework thoroughly on Jasper's past and knew everything clearly. She really couldn't bear Jasper's cowardly look of giving up on himself. She cursed him every day, saying that he deserved it. She said that his current situation was the retribution for his past deeds of wooing Vivian and betraying me. Jasper was so hurt by her words every day. One night, he couldn't bear it anymore and drove to the seaside for a ride overnight. As a result, he was still drunk and in his blurred vision, he mistook the brake for the accelerator. He plunged himself into the deep sea and was drowned by the seawater. When the classmates who knew about it mentioned the tragic state of Jasper when he was fished out of the water, they all sighed. The gossipy people asked me what I thought about this. I smiled slightly and said, "Look forward. For me, every step I take forward now is full of sunshine and strength." The end.